Parshat Toldot introduces us to Yaakov and Eisav and their rivalry over the birthright. It is a parasha of twins and nations in embryo. Yaakov will emerge as Israel, our patriarch. Brother Eisav, or Edom, will be locked in enmity with Israel until the Messianic era. The tension begins as early as Rivka's pregnancy, when we're told that the two fought inside her. The Midrash is not shy to demonize Eisav in its conjecture that whenever Rivka walked past a place of idolatry, Eisav tried to burst that out. When she passed a place of Torah learning, Yaakov made his bid for freedom. We're told that Eisav became a man who knew hunting, a man of the field, and Yaakov was a wholesome man who made his life in the tents. Yitzchak loved Eisav because the hunt was in his mouth, and Rivka loved Yaakov. It seems they've picked favourites, Yitzchak taking pride in Eisav's manly pursuits, Rivka drawn by Yaakov, who helped out around the house. Does the Torah want us to paint a picture that somehow Yitzchak and Rivka had a hand in the tension between their children? And how could Yitzchak get it so wrong that he favoured the obvious villain of our piece? If we look at the expression carefully, Yitzchak loved Eisav because the hunt was in his mouth, and Rivka loved Yaakov, we see that while a reason is given for Yitzchak's love for Eisav, Esav's hunting prowess, no reason is given when we're told that Rivka loved Yaakov. The 12th century commentator, the Radak, says of the discrepancy that of course Yitzchak loved goody-goody Yaakov. That went without saying. Quite literally, without saying. The Torah's focus on Yitzchak's more surprising love of Eisav is his reluctance to write his son off. While Eisav is vilified by tradition as a wayward child, he nonetheless found an avenue which made his father proud, and he honoured his father by bringing him the delights of the hunt. What do we learn from the verse's contrast with Rivka's love for Yaakov? On the face of it, Rivka's love for Yaakov is unqualified. She had every reason to love him, and none not to. And this was bolstered by the prophecy that Hashem had given her during pregnancy, that the elder and initially stronger would eventually serve the younger. From this perspective, Yitzchak represents confident in the leadership he perceives, and Rivka represents faith in the leadership she anticipates. This interpretation resolves another contrast set up by the verse. On close reading, it says, Yitzchak loved Eisav in the past tense, but the Hebrew continues, Rivka loves Yaakov in the present. Yitzchak's love, predicated on an optimistic gloss over Eisav's deficiencies, or on the imagination that leadership was synonymous with brute force, was a love that existed but elapsed. Rivka's love, rooted in her faith in Yaakov's noble qualities, is a love which exists and endures. Our Torah gives us patriarchs and matriarchs who are real people with real hopes and real faults and real flaws. If our biblical forebears were all good or all evil, they would be like Goldilocks Three Bears, fairy tale characters with nothing much to teach. Instead, we have a narrative which challenges us to understand and challenges us to learn. Our parasha teaches us, through Yitzchak, that we should look for the positive in people. However, we should not blind ourselves to their flaws or the need for admonition, the need to set them right. Sometimes you need to tell someone they are wayward to help them find their way back. And Rivka teaches that what underpins love can't necessarily be articulated or explained. It can come from an inner conviction. From Rivka we learn that when our love is a love of virtue, that love lives on. And what of love that goes without saying? The Radak's commentary is an explanation, but is not an affirmation. We might know that we love our family so much that it goes without saying, but if we love them, we should tell them even so. Wishing you and all your families good health and Shabbat Shalom.